I can't wait till Richard Hart starts getting on the stream again.
Woo!
And starts twerking on camera.
That's gonna be the top. That's gonna be the top. That's gonna be your sell signal. When you see that man getting excited and happy again, and PLS is $1, some stupid shit like that, bro. That's your sell signal.
Oh my god! I hope PLS goes to $1. Holy.
I don't know. I don't know though, because bro, like you can't predict these things, because him twerking could make things go viral, right? So that might not be the top signal, especially with the new Pulsechain, new age of Pulsechain,
Yeah, I got more and more people asking me about Pulsechain every day, bro. Even today, one of my old DGen friends that he took a break for a while came back. He was like, "Yo, I need to be getting into this Pulsechain or what?" And I said, "Well, let's see." So I sent him my first tweet about the DOJ at 18K. Then I sent him another screenshot maybe 2 hours later of the 100K. He was like, "Whoa, okay, yeah." He was like, "So what I gotta do?"
One interesting thing about the RH case on the 28th is that I think we might get interesting news at least 12 days or earlier before that, because if RH's lawyers want to petition for a summary dismissal, that they have to put in that request at least 12 days before the 28th.
Isn't it funny that people will just because they hear some headliner, they don't even want to even look at it, PLS or Richard Hart going into SEC and SEC'd. It's why are people so afraid of the big bad guys that actually don't know anything about blockchain? When that spurs people to look into it and maybe buy in.
Well, if you look at the SEC, it's just right now they're just trying to kill the industry. If anybody was watching the hearing, of course I have to, or I'm an individual that will sit or just listen through the hearing of Gensler freaking just spitting bullshit repeatedly. But they're just trying to kill the industry in and of itself, because if you really think about what we're all preaching about, DeFi and true DeFi, like Pulsechain, is getting rid of the middleman, and basically, with that being said, just taking over the banking industry. We're the people are the bank. They can choose what crypto project or just that going forward. They're just trying to kill the industry, so they're just gonna try to attack as many people. But you have to think about the industry. It's not just the United States that we need to worry about. Other Australia, anywhere around the world is gonna have crypto. If you really believe in some kind of the values of freedom and all that kind of stuff, freedom of transaction, freedom of speech, freedom. Once individuals of the elite do not have control, they lose control of their power. So it's just the industry. People just don't really understand it because they're just brainwashed.
100%, and even if it goes lower, I've got some funds ready to go,
Yep.
Oh my god, could you imagine if it went lower? Sheesh.
I mean, I normally wouldn't just buy shit that's 90% from the top. I would just say, yo, it's over, it's dead. But I just know the community that's in Pulsechain, the Hexicans and the Pulsecans and everybody that's just paying attention, and the amount of money that people have in this ecosystem. Nah, it's not to be faded.
No, and it's just we have history on our side too, right?
Exactly.
Ethereum did what it dumped, right, on launch, right? So maybe not down to an all-time low, but it dumped, and it's just it's expected with every coin. Every coin dumps. Every coin has a hype phase and then dumps and then comes back for recovery, makes it an all-time high, and FOMO happens. Plus, we got Ethereum did it, right? So the only difference between us and Ethereum is that Ethereum didn't realize the potential that Ethereum had. They didn't expect that all these products and DeFi protocols are going to build on top of it, but we do. We know that's happening because we know what Pulsechain is, we know what its potential is, and so we're all prepared for it. We're all ready for it. We're prepared, and we're gonna see. We expect it to do big things.
Everybody's gonna end up selling too early. It's gonna happen. Ethereum went from 11 cents to $5,000, bro. You thought anybody ever thought that was going to happen. Not in a million years, and especially as fast as it did it in a few years. You know what I mean? No other asset does that. So that's what's going to happen with Pulsechain too. But everybody's looking for a 10x. They want a 10x. They're putting in 100,000 now, 90K now, and they're going to sell for their 10x. They're going to get their 900K, their $1 million. They're going to get it. And guess what? They're going to realize they could have got $10 million, $100 million. Like, this is crypto, bro. This shit happens. And this bull run that we're about to go into is going to be the most parabolic bull run ever, because it's going to be the last one. Because after that, they're going to regulate the shit out of this space, and it's going to be the stock market 2.0.
You're saying this is the final run before the gates are closed?
I'm saying this is the final parabolic run before the crypto market becomes the stock market 2.0.
I hear you, bro. I can see that. I can totally see that.
You can tell by the amount of FUD, by the amount of shit that they do to shake us out. Yo, it takes a lot for you to FUD me, right? Because I always inverse the traditional markets and what they like, the narratives that they put out on financial media and shit like that. I always inverse it. Look, yesterday they said 61% of the investors say that we're in a bear market rally. I put out a tweet, buy signal. The bear market is back. I mean, the bull market is back. Let's go. What happens the next day? Starts pumping, bro. The stock market is pumping. Bitcoin is pumping. ETH is pumping. That's why I always go against the opposite of what they're pushing, because they're fear mongers. So with the amount of FUD that they do with crypto and shit like that, right? I always inverse it. But with that Chase, because I use Chase Bank, when they said that the whole shit about Chase Bank, you can't cash out with us, we don't with you crypto people. If you're trying to cash out large sums, we're gonna think that it's scam and it's fraud, and we're not letting you with us. My heart dropped. My spine turned cold. I was scared now. Now I'm scared. So now what am I supposed to do before October 16th? Cash out all my assets now at the bottom just so that I can be able to cash out? No, so this is what I'm thinking, right? So I'm like, I gotta go cash out into fiat, which is depreciating by the second, while my ETH is appreciating by the second. Like, nah, this is not gonna work for me. I'm in a panic. So then somebody read it for me and they broke it down. They're saying that this shit is in the UK. They're not saying nothing about international or United States. They're saying that this shit is in the UK.
I believe Hex has a new, breath of fresh air breathed into it on the Pulsechain side, just because of how closely tied it is to Pulsechain. I believe that if Pulsechain does 100x, Hex could easily do that or even more along the way, just because it has a way, like a thicker liquidity pair on a very volatile asset that isn't ETH or isn't USDC like it was on Ethereum.
Well, that's a good point too, because there are some people out there who speculate that Hex might actually outperform PLS potentially during the bull cycle. So I mean, that I know that theory is out there as well. So that's a really good point.
Yeah, it is possible, and like I don't know, like I kind of want to be like I'm a PLS guy, so I'm like I kind of get scared. Like, man, should I DC into Hex as well? Because that might happen. And so and that's when I decide to do the Hex stakes, because if that happens, Hex is like a mini PLS that can earn you more PLS. It's like the staking version of the PLS without using a validator in my eyes.
Well, because I mean you got a lot of the OGs, right, that sacrificed a lot of Hex for PLS, and a lot of OGs that cashed out on Hex too. So they might not necessarily have a lot of PHEX the way that a lot of these OGs have a lot of PLS. So I know that's part of the theory of some people speculating that PHEX might actually outperform PLS, is because a lot of the OGs have already cashed out of PHEX, So it's interesting.
Right. I didn't even think about that either. That's another bull case for it. Sheesh. So many awesome opinions and perspectives. You just can't get enough of it. I go to bed thinking about this stuff, and I'm like, all right, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. I got to make a move, get out of bed, and go make a transaction. It's my life right now. Social life can wait. Right now, I'm just trying to pack my bags.
Exactly.
You say that that's what the rich people do, is they borrow against their assets. But are you really rich if you have debt?
For me, if you don't have debt,
that even if you don't have like $1 million, I think you're still considered rich. If you're debt free, that's like you're doing way better than most people.
So yeah, like I just wanted to chime in about the whole debt situation. There's definitely a difference between good debt and bad debt, right? Bad debt being, buying a car, buying something that basically doesn't make you more money. So in terms of like rich people or whatever, investors in terms of real estate, right? What they do, like people like Robert Kiyosaki or Donald Trump. So I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad a long time ago, and I read a bunch of other books by Robert Kiyosaki, and he talks a lot about good debt, and it's my financial goal for the future, basically to accumulate enough wealth to be able to like own an apartment building, basically. And the people who are rich in this world, basically they stay rich because they pay low taxes, and basically the government, they basically give you incentives to pay low taxes by doing things that help the government, right? By things that like help the United States. So if you basically buy an apartment building and you give people housing, right, they're going to give you tax breaks for doing something like that, right? So people that own apartment buildings, they pay about 3% in taxes on the income that they generate from those apartment buildings because it's passive income. So yeah, I just wanted to say there's definitely a difference between good debt, bad debt, and don't be afraid of debt. If you're going to get a loan for something that's going to generate you, a passive income, a wealth of some sort, in the future, some type of asset that doesn't depreciate. That's definitely a good debt.
No, that's good that you brought that out. Good debt and bad debt. Now that you see it in crypto, that the liquid loans.
Yes, I would really
And
recommend anybody in here if you want to like just learn about any like finances and things like that. Definitely start with Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's a really great book by Robert Kiyosaki, and you can really get a great kind of perspective from that. Another really great book would be Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This is probably the best book I've ever read. It was written like in the early 1900s. Like it's still relevant today. So I would really recommend those.
Very much relative today.
Yes, these things are paying people in an asset that they can either hold or sell for an income, and they don't have to sell the token that they bought into originally, right? So these are just great opportunities for people to create a passive income. You can just make money without having to do anything while you sleep. It's really great, man. I'm really happy to be here for all this stuff.
yeah, I agree, man. This is like a new world, new system we're in. It's not about working for another human being now. We got digital assets that we could put to work, and then it works for us.
So like my plan is to like make a bunch of money here in crypto, right? And then like when you go to like say if you want to go buy an apartment building, like we just talked about. So basically how it goes is like you need 20% of the the cost of the apartment building for the down payment, basically. And then if the apartment building that you're trying to buy is already operational, that's basically how you should buy them. If it's already operational and you can basically show that the apartment is like generating a certain amount of income versus the expenses, you show all this stuff to a bank, and basically what they do is they don't value or they don't base like the loan criteria off of like your personal income or anything like that. They base the loan criteria off of like the value of the apartment and how much money it generates, right? So it's a way for people that don't have like a great financial history or anything like that. You can still actually invest in like multifamily real estate. As long as like the place has 5 units or more, it's considered commercial real estate. And if you have 20% down, and you'll be able to basically get a loan if the bank basically says that they see that the income versus expenses makes sense for the loan.
Yeah, that's good advice. I have some rentals, but yeah, they're like single dwellings and they were not occupied, so I had to like really move some numbers around and to get loans.
Yes, that's a good place to start. Obviously, that like if you're just like trying to dip your toes into the real estate world, single family is definitely a good place to start and learn. When it comes to single family, it's like you know, if your place is not rented out, it's like you're not really generating any income. So you know, with the apartments, it's like you can have a few of them that are empty, and you're still kind of you know, making 80% or whatever. And after a bull run, I mean, we'll probably all be sitting on enough money to buy some types of properties. So it's something that we should all be thinking about now instead of when the time comes.
Absolutely, because
Sounds like a plan.
I want student housing, like buy housing near university or a complex near the university, and do that because student housing comes with a lot of benefits too. Usually, like during summer and fall, like you're taken care of, and sometimes the school buys the apartments from you, or you lease them, and they do like all the maintenance work, everything. You just kind of like take it in, you know what I mean? So if y'all actually thinking about places, student housing would probably be something that you get into.
Definitely, yeah. Student housing markets are great markets. There's like upsides and downsides to all that stuff, right? So like upsides would be like, you know, you get these students that have parents. They'll sign cosigns for their apartments, so you don't have to worry about people paying the rent. You know, that's always good. But like the downside would be like students fucking trash the apartments, right? So you may be looking at a little bit of maintenance.
Yeah, that's down.
Well, that's where you contract the school to be like, hey, listen, if anything happens to the apartment, the school pays for it. And that's what, you see what I'm saying? Like, that's where you drop in the contract.
Well,
if anything.
I didn't do that. So
that's what you got to do. Like, hey, if anything breaks, anything, hey, listen, the school just ends up charging the student or the parents. And then, so it all gets spit out.